Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hello, and welcome to another Giver Marketing broadcast. I'm Christine Deane, Team Director at Giver Marketing, and I am so excited today. Why? Because we have Jon Logan in the house. Hi, Jon.
Hey, Christine. How are you?
Oh, we're going to have so much fun today. Y'all just don't understand. Jon is freaking brilliant, okay? First time we started talking, I was like, oh yeah, we are definitely pulling you into the network because you have no choice. You are joining us. This is how this works. Not only that, we're going to bring your brilliance onto the broadcast because I want everybody to know what you know. And I know they can't squeeze it all into this little tiny broadcast, but by golly, we're just going to give you a taste of some of his brilliance. Jon, how did you get involved in marketing? What was your journey to get here? Were you always this brilliant?
Well, my grandmother would say so, for sure. It's an interesting story. So I went to school for cybersecurity, actually. Went to the University of Central Florida, got a cybersecurity defense, went through their training program. Came out of that, got a job as a cybersecurity engineer for a small company down in Florida, which is near the Space Coast, which is why I loved all that space theme stuff in the video. And if you look at my branding, it's all space as well. And I was working for them as small, did a lot of like cybersecurity, supply chain compliance for the Space Force is mostly what we did. One day the owner walks up to me. He's an older guy. And he goes, "Hey, Jon, you're young." Like, "Thanks, buddy. You're old. Where's the conversation going to go?" He's like, "We don't have any social media. We don't do any marketing. Go do marketing." Go do marketing. Okay. I hate social media as a rule. So I'm like the worst young person you could find. But okay, I'll go do marketing. And they plateaued at about $3 million a year for like, I think somewhere around 5 years. They kind of plateaued there. And I was just started doing marketing part-time in between different security contracts and dove into YouTube and books and just completely self-taught. And in the first year, took them from 3 million to about 6.5 million. And I was like, oh, I think I'm good at this. So they moved me into full-time marketing. And I took them from 3 million to 25 million in less than 3 years. And so that was kind of like my first dipping my toe into marketing. Around the same time when the guy came up and asked me to go do marketing, I started my first startup company. I had an idea in college for this email security SaaS product, put a team of developers together, worked on the branding and messaging and partnerships and referral agreements and like the whole nine. And then about 3 months before we were going to launch, a very large email security competitor came out with something very similar, killed our first mover advantage. Is like, I don't want to get stuck in patent court for a decade. So wrapped that up. But then right after we wrapped that up, some of our partners, most of them were MSPs, managed service provider, IT companies, came to me and they're like, "Hey, we loved your marketing and branding that you did for your startup, even though it didn't go anywhere. It wasn't really your fault. We would love what you did. Would you come do some consulting for us?" So then I ended up starting this boutique marketing strategy, social media management company. Did that for a couple of years, got really, really sick of looking at Canva. So I spun that out, brought in some partners. So they're really taking over that pretty much completely now. I don't really touch it anymore. And a little over a year ago, I got certified in StoryBrand, if you're familiar with the StoryBrand framework.
StoryBrand, give our audience just a quick overview on StoryBrand if they're not familiar with StoryBrand.
So StoryBrand is a marketing and messaging framework that's been around for over a decade. It's been used by over 1 million businesses across the globe. And what StoryBrand is it's a messaging clarity framework. So what you do is we take what do you sell, what do you do, what do you raise money for if you're a nonprofit, and we find a way to say it simply and clearly, and then take that messaging in your marketing and put it into the formula of story. And when I say formula of story, if you watch enough movies or TV shows, you can start to tell what's going to happen. Like, oh, they're going to die. They're going to get together. That guy's actually the villain. You can start to pick up on these cues because stories are very formulaic. Well, when you can build the marketing and messaging of your company in that same formula, it's captivating. So that's what the StoryBrand framework does. It clarifies your messaging and then helps structure it in the formula of story to make it captivating for your audience. So I got StoryBrand certified and use that kind of to launch into what I do now, which is mostly fractional chief marketing officer work and marketing consulting.
Oof, sounds like fun. I love it. So your favorite industries to play in, do you have, you just kind of come in and give them a hand regardless of industry, or do you have favorites?
So I do have favorites. I'm about to have my second kid, and I will tell them I have favorites. I'm not going to lie. Everyone has favorites. And I prefer financial services. So, CPAs, financial advisors, tax accountants, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a great synergy with that. And then tech companies. So cybersecurity companies, SaaS companies, technology companies, because that's where a lot of my experience is, not only on the technical side, but with my startups. So those are the two I prefer, but because I use proven frameworks and principles, I can really work with anybody. So it's just a matter of, are they willing to go through my process or not?
Absolutely. I love that. And I was just thinking, Daniel Knight with Unicorn Universe likes to work in some of those spaces that you're talking about. And I know Dimitri likes to play a lot in the tech space. So we probably need to make sure you know everybody in the network, and the network's growing. We're almost at 200 people now. So it's hard to find everybody, right? I love that. This is awesome. So today, though, you're going to be talking to us about which part are we diving into?
So we are diving into my framework called the marketing machine. And what it is, it's a holistic view of understanding how your marketing operations need to work. There's a really powerful misconception in the marketing space, which I blame social media and TikTok mostly for, that marketing is, just social media and ads. But it's actually so much bigger than that. And so that's what the marketing machine framework is designed to do, is help people understand the big nebulous pieces of a marketing operation into one concise idea.
Yeah, because it really could be overwhelming, especially when you're talking to small business owners, new business owners, solopreneurs. They're like, there's so much to do. How do I know where to start and where to focus, right? Exactly. And like you said, they think ads, or they think social media, or they think, right? So trying to put it all together in a sense, something that makes sense to the rest of us, right?
Right.
Well, so I saw this, you gave me a little glimpse at it, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is exciting. So I can't wait. Let's pop that up on the screen. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So what we're going to talk about today is how to build what I call the marketing machine. And when I say marketing machine, I use the analogy of a car to explain how your marketing needs to work. So any car has 5 key components. You have your engine, your steering, your driver, your fuel, and your tires. So when we talk about how your marketing needs to work, we talk about your marketing team and your marketing tools, which is your engine. We talk about your strategy, which is your steering. And marketing strategy is where are we going and how are we going to get there. Your driver is your leadership. Someone has to be in charge of marketing. The buck has to stop with somebody. And it can't be, no hate on who I'm about to talk about, but it can't be a front desk receptionist person who posts on Facebook. That's not a marketer. That's a front desk person who posts on Facebook. Your fuel is your funding. You need to have a marketing budget. Marketing, unfortunately, is not a one-time investment. But that doesn't also mean that you need to go dump $5-10 grand into ads every month. You need to know how to do fuel management so that way your marketing machine runs the farthest and most efficiently that it can. And then your tires are the tactical execution of doing marketing. So when I was told years ago to, hey, go do marketing, that's what this guy had in mind. And that's what the tires are of your marketing machine. So imagine your marketing runs like a car. And if you're tracking with me, you're already thinking of all these different pieces. Like, okay, maybe this is a door, or maybe this is a fender, maybe this is the spark plugs, who knows? But imagine your marketing runs as an operationally like a car. So your marketing engine is your team and your tools. Now, a lot of businesses right now are making the mistake of replacing their team and their tools with AI, thinking that AI is the answer to everything. It's not. You need to use AI appropriately in your business to help you accelerate what you're doing, but it cannot replace your team. Now, were you going to say something?
I was just thinking, yeah, you see them trying though. Loud layoffs, and then it's like, oh, bring them all back. We need them still.
Yeah, I think it was Fiverr, right? That like fired a huge swath of their employees and replaced them with AI.
Is it Microsoft also? I mean, there's been more than one that's done it, I think.
Right. And then they have to claw them back, but then they broke trust with their employees. And it's just a terrible move. Imagine, think about a car and think about, I don't know who's listening if you're car people, but this is what I explain how marketing and AI need to work together. If you don't use AI in your marketing, that's like running a 1994 Honda Civic V4 engine, like a tiny little zipper car from 20 years ago. Using AI is like driving a V12 turbo diesel Cummins, 4800 truck. It's going to go faster. It's going to go farther. It's going to be infinitely more powerful than what you're trying to do. The old ways, the best practices of yesteryear are not best practices anymore. So you need to figure out how can we integrate AI with our team, replace some tools with AI tools, or get AI, figure out how to use the AI enabled tools, because everything has AI in it now, to accelerate your marketing engine to operate the best that it can. Because you want to, as a business owner, as a marketing leader, you want to equip your team with the best tools possible. So that way they always feel like their time is valuable, like they're being the most effective for the company, and that they're doing a good job. So
I think that's really where it comes into, right? When you start adding AI into your marketing, it's not that you're replacing your team, it's that you're making your team so much more efficient, right? How much they can accomplish, right? So instead of spending all day working on that social media ad, right? Or, they've got that done and they started posting things on YouTube channel, right? So they can get twice as much done when you add a little AI into it, right?
Yeah, AI is basically an efficiency enhancer. So if you have someone that's excellent at their job, you can't replace them with marketing, but you can basically replicate 5 of them with AI if you know how to do it correctly.
Values in the human, yes.
That's right. So your marketing engine is your marketing team and your marketing tools. If you don't have a good marketing team, if your tools are outdated, you're only going to go so fast and so far with your marketing. Now, your marketing strategy is your steering. Marketing strategy is my specialty. This is where my brain is the most happy doing this part. And the strategy is where are we going and how are we going to get there? I have a framework I've developed over the last 5 years with all my clients and my own businesses, where it's a 6-step process on how to create a marketing strategy. And I'll run through it at a really high level. So it's goals, revenue opportunities, what assets, timeline, and hurdles. So we start with the goals. Where are we going? Revenue is what are we selling? Opportunities is where can we find the best bang for our buck with our marketing? What opportunities do we have on the table now that we can take advantage of? Then look at what assets you have. So does your website need work, especially with AI, like AI search and everything? Does your website need help? Do you have a CRM? Do you have all automations you need? What can we do there to make that better? What assets do you have? What assets do you need? And what assets can you do that optimize now for quick wins? Then we look at timelines, because you're going to end up with a giant to-do list, organizing that into logical, chronological steps, and then look at hurdles, because if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. And so it is your job to proactively plan to overcome those problems. A great example of why you need to do that is this lovely little, roadside diner restaurant chain that decided to do a rebrand, and it was rolled out horrendously. They did not have a strategy on how to handle if people hated the rebrand. Like, it was very evident on how it was handled. So there's a process for creating a marketing strategy. And really, that's just what you need to understand as far as the operation of your business and your marketing is your strategy, is your steering. You can build all the content, all the ideas, all the ads, all the automations, all the team that you want, but someone has to be moving and knowing where they're going to go and how they're going to get there. So that's marketing strategy. It's the steering of your car. And that ties into marketing leadership. Marketing leadership is the driver. You can have, let's say you have your steering in place, you have some strategy, but if someone is not in charge of executing it, you're not going to get where you need to go. So the marketing leadership, your driver can be the business owner. If you're, a solopreneur or a really small business, ideally it can be a marketing director, someone in house that's in charge of marketing. That's like, okay, you are the marketing guy. You need to make this work. It cannot be the really, really nice front desk person. I emphasize that a lot because I see that a lot.
Customer service is important. It's important to have a very well-trained front desk friendly face. However, do you want them to be responsible for your whole business success?
Exactly. Like, they're great and they're lovely people and they can create really pretty Facebook posts. But if they don't understand the entire operation, if they don't understand how the car works and how everything needs to work together and tracking with AI implementation and all these new tools and best practices changing, they're not going to be a good driver. They might be a nice person, but they're not a good driver. And then you can have two other options. You can either bring in an agency to be your driver, or you can bring in a fractional CMO, which is one of my services I offer, because maybe you don't have the time or capacity to be the driver of your marketing car, but you need someone who understands intimately, who can do it for you. That's essentially what a marketing driver is.
Yeah. And you think about it, as a business owner, there's only so much you can do yourself. And I often say, if you're trying to do it all yourself, you haven't really created a business, you've created a job for yourself. So if you want to scale and grow, at some point you need to think about, who do I need to bring in on my team? So if you need some more people on your leadership team, if you need a driver to make your marketing happen, right? It's okay to bring in other people and team up with others.
Right. Do you own your job, or does your job own you?
Bingo.
I mean, so many small business owners and solopreneurs where their job owns them. They own they own a business that is their job, and they never get time off. They never get to leave. They never get to take a breath. I have a friend right now who's going through a family crisis, and they cannot take a day off because their business dies without them. That's not what you want. You want to build your team, and outside of just marketing, build a team that can handle and execute without you, because that's the difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner. An entrepreneur owns a company that can run successfully by itself. A business owner owns a business that runs them. But anyway, that's kind of a side topic.
That would be a fun topic. We'll have to go down that rabbit hole, and these days is a whole broadcast.
So your marketing budget is the fuel. And when I talk about fuel management, a lot of business owners, especially on the SMB side, are kind of like, they get a little scared because they're like, I really have to commit to paying money every month to marketing. They're like, can't I just, pay $5,000 for a website or build my own website on GoDaddy and call it a day? Like, no.
Right. Budget. That's a hard part. For a lot of times, it's small business owners or their startups, right? They haven't assigned any budget to marketing at all. And you're like, well, how did you plan on growing? How did you plan on bringing in business? How did you, right? Without having a marketing budget planned, you really are tying your own hands. So trying to, build you towards success means you need to have a marketing budget, whatever that is. You got to figure out most bang for your buck, right? But you got to have something.
Yeah. And you can look up, what people recommend based on your industry and stage of business. And I actually wrote an article, it's my best performing article on my website, about how to create a marketing budget, because it gets so, scary. People are like, I don't know how to make a marketing budget. Should I go spend $10,000 a month on ads, or should I go put into, automations? Should I do AI? There's so many people, so many things and tools and people trying to get your money. You just need to have a process that you can rely on. Okay, this is my budget. Here's how I need to do it. Now, what a lot of businesses make the mistake of is they will spend their marketing budget somewhere terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to track the ROI of their investment.
Right.
I was even talking to this lady, super sweet, love her to death. She owns a towing company that her dad gave her as an inheritance. And I asked her, I was like, hey, what's the ROI of this marketing thing that you're doing? And she said, what's ROI?
Right.
I'm like, okay, we need to back up a little bit. ROI is return on investment. Any money you spend in marketing, you need to get a return. You need to be able to track, okay, I spent $10,000 on hiring John to do this thing. How much in return, like he helped our marketing, how much did that boost our sales? Hey, I'm going to go spend $15,000 on this really killer website. Is it generating leads? How many leads does it generate? What are our closing rates? At what point will we break even and then start to make money off of this investment? Marketing should not be a black hole for your company. Marketing should be a scalable, measurable system that makes you more money. It's a money.
It's an investment that you get return on your investment as opposed to just an expense that you just, oh, that's another company expense. No, that's not how marketing is supposed to work.
Right. I got a buddy, he just got a company off of some hosting, contract that they had because they weren't actually hosting it, but they had signed it. And then for like 2 or 3 years, they just didn't realize that they were paying a couple $100 a month for literally nothing. It's insane.
Yep.
Now,
Always, yeah, we're going to say as small business owners or small, even larger business, go through your expenses and do they make sense? Are you using the tools? Once a year at least, probably about every 6 months, I like to stop and look at, okay, what are all my tools? Am I actually using them? Or am I getting the return on investment that I want? Do I need to get rid? I always end up getting rid of a couple of things, right? Puts a little bit of money back into the pot.
Exactly. And for us, I do quarterly reviews. Quarterly reviews with my businesses, quarterly review with my clients, like just every 90 days. What do we spend money on? What are we focusing on? What's the return on investment? Where can we cut costs? Just how can we keep this a lean, mean growth machine?
Absolutely. Really. And you need to have somebody that's doing that, right? Somebody that's looking at that in your business, because if you don't, right, next thing you know, you spent hundreds of dollars every month or thousands of dollars every month on something that you're not even using, which is horrible, right?
Exactly. So if any of you out there are wondering like how to do this and need help, reach out to Christine. She knows people. She knows
We have connections.
That's right. Now, another thing about your marketing budget is making sure that you invest in the right marketing efforts. So I'm kind of railing on ads a little bit because they're easy to pick on. I'm going to rail on ads a little bit more. So I was talking to a gentleman who owns a detailing company down in Florida, and he wants to do these social media ads like year round and do all that. I'm like, okay, cool. Down here in Florida, it's where I'm at right now. Daytona Beach, they have what they call Bike Week, and it is the largest gathering of bikers in the country. For a whole week, there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of motorcycle riders in Daytona Beach for 1 week in Florida. And I'm like, dude, instead of spending social media ads all year, you should save that money and do radio ads in Daytona during Bike Week about cleaning and detailing and ceramic coating motorcycles. You're going to get way better ROI on that investment versus just kind of spraying and praying your social media ads. So making sure you spend your marketing budget where it can be most effective is super important. And we'll kind of dive into that a little bit later.
Great point, though.
So the marketing tactics are the tires. And this is what I call doing marketing, right? Tactical execution of doing marketing. And that's the tires of your car. If you have you have a great marketing budget and you have a new marketing leadership, and then you have, all these AI tools and you have a marketing team, but you're not actually doing anything, you're not going to go anywhere. So the tires are the tactical execution of doing marketing. Now, there are 4 tires. You got 4 tires on a car. There are 4 marketing tires on your marketing machine. That's your content, your website, your funnels, and your CRM. Most businesses rely heavily on the content tire and completely ignore the other 3. So you're driving with 1 overinflated tire that's busting at the seams and 3 flats. And then you wonder, why doesn't my marketing work? Well, it's because your marketing sucks and you're doing it wrong. Just totally honest. So your marketing sucks and you're doing it wrong. You're driving on 1 overinflated tire and 3 flats. So we'll go into each of these 4 tires. So your content can be, ads is a big one. I'm railing on ads a little bit. Blogs for SEO stuff, and then social media. So your videos, your posts, your infographics, whatever that might be. It's important, but it's not all. Marketing is not all content. You got the rest of the car to think about. You need to have your website. Websites should generate you leads. At the very least, it needs to be, a digital marker in the sand that when you have a conversation with someone like Christine or, someone you meet at a networking event, like, oh, how do I get a hold of you? Go to blah, blah, blah website.com or .org or whatever. Because that way it's a digital marker that can start to capture traffic. You can send people there. You can refer people there. You need to have some place online that people go to. And that website needs to be what we call AEO, which is like AI search or answer search engine optimization. It needs to be SEO optimized, which is still very important. I see ads. I'm in the marketing space, so I see all these ads about SEO is dead. SEO is not dead. SEO is still fundamental, and then you build AI optimization on top. And then what I call HBO, which is human behavior optimization.
I thought you were talking about TV next.
It's how do we as human beings naturally look and digest websites? You need to optimize your website for that as well.
Yeah, what's your customer journey look like, right?
The customer journey, and then we actually even get more granular into like how customers scan like with their eyes.
Mhm.
Like where do their eyes move on the website and how do they flow through websites? We get really granular with that. And then your funnels is your third tire. So that's going to be your automations, your lead generators, your list segmentation. I have one client I met with yesterday. They have federal contracting audience. They have a commercial like business owner audience, and then they have what we call a prime audience. So there's 3 different audiences that are very different. You need to build all the automations in the system so that way when you capture leads, you can automatically sort what audience they're in and then put them into nurture campaigns, into these specific funnels, giving them more resources and building the relationship with them. You need to build this all automatically.
Absolutely. I love that you brought that up and that distinguish between the list segmentation. What a difference that makes really on your impact, because you're giving the right people the right information. I was just on a call last night with one of my international clients, and we were just diving into this, right? A lot of times people think they only have one audience. No, you have multiple audience. Your products have different audiences. Your services have different audiences, right? They might appeal to different people in different stages of what they're doing, right? So you really got to dive deep, because when you give the right message to the right person, right, you start getting those results.
And I love, because the funnels and automations is a big piece of strategy for me. So I love like finding all the little pieces and how they're tied together. And then it becomes this like crazy web. And I'm sitting there laughing maniacally.
Yes, it's like the mad scientist. It's like, oh, I know the nerd in us really comes out on this stuff. I hear you.
Yeah, we'll move on now. Interestingly, I was talking to a gentleman a couple weeks ago who owns $150 million business. And they didn't have sales funnels and lead automation, like automations. And I was looking at him like, how do you do that? And he's like, well, we're so niche, we didn't really have to worry about this. I'm like, okay, how many people do you have on your email list right now that haven't been talked to? He's like, about 90,000. I'm like, my brain short circuited for, I was literally like,
right. I can just let me in. Just let me go. Come on, coach, let me in.
Let me go. Exactly. Like even, you can have some great success, but you won't have the best success, right, without all 4 of these tires. And the last one is your CRM, so your customer relationship manager. It could be content relationship. You can build these different tools into it, but CRM. So automations, pipelines, and upsells. I have a client who owns a pressure washing company. He's been around for almost a decade. Really cool guy. He is how we're nerds about marketing. He's a nerd about pressure washing. It's crazy. Like having a conversation with him about pressure washing is mind melting, but also really fascinating at the same time. And he has 800 people on his email list that are previous clients that he's never like tried to upsell them into maintenance packages.
Anything, huh? Yeah.
Tried to upsell them into, hey, we pressure wash your driveway. You need to clean your roof because you get, mildew and stuff on your roof because you're under these trees. And never did any of that. And so he's missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars per year because he doesn't have these upsells and these automations and asking for reviews and tracking your pipelines. Your CRM is really important. So if you want to have an optimized marketing machine that actually drives growth in your business, you need to have all 4 of these tires.
Yeah, a lot of times we see our business owners focus on new leads, right? Lead gen, new leads, right? Are you capitalizing on your opportunities with your current clients or past clients, right? It's a lot more expensive to find a new lead than it is to convert somebody that's already one of your fans, right?
Exactly. And if they bought from you, then they have some level of trust in you and your product and your service. So if they bought from you, it's so much easier to sell them more versus having to track down someone new and sprint and try and just always hunting you only eat what you kill, right? Like, no. You should feast on that kill for a long time. Sorry for the hunting analogy if that triggers anybody. Like, it's true. You need to build this out and you need to be automated because we don't have the capacity, the mental space. We don't have the time to do these things manually, especially once you reach a certain scale. So you need to build this out automatic so that way it scales with you as you grow and actually helps you grow your business exponentially versus always sprinting, always trying, always drowning. And then you feel like marketing's a scam.
Yeah, and we talked about the old school style versus the new style, right? And this is that transition. And sometimes you've got businesses that have been around for a really long time. I had one that been around for 20 years and didn't even have a website, right? I mean, so it happens, right? They've never done a post on LinkedIn. So there's just things where there's old school style, used to do a phone call every single time. Well, now, you might do an email automation, sends out and says, hey, it was great meeting you at such and such. Would love to further the conversation. Hop on my calendar, right? And Something simple like that, rather than them having to wait a month to get a phone call from you, they got something right away. Keeps you
Right.
top of mind, right? Just little things like that, which really have a big impact on your business. If you're not setting up that nurturing, and using your CRM to me is like the backbone of your business. If
Yes.
you don't have that CRM, you're just like, there's nothing holding you up.
Exactly. And that takes us to, how do you build a marketing machine? So I just went through all these different pieces and all this stuff. And you're probably sitting there like, oh my gosh, I got so much to do. I don't know how to do this. Okay. It's a 5-step process. It's easy. Step 1 is develop clear messaging. So I mentioned before, I'm StoryBrand certified. That's a framework I use. I find it works really, really well. So we develop clear messaging. Who are you talking to? What are their pain points? What are their what's going on in the world around them that's causing them the stress or the problems that they're feeling on the inside? Like, oh, I'm really anxious about payroll, or I don't know what to do with this security thing, or I don't know. I need, for me, my back hurts, so I got one of those Shakti pokey meds. So like, my back hurts. What can I do to fix that? How do we talk to our customers where they are now with the problems they have? And then how do we position you as the person to solve their problems, either through your products or services or what have you? You develop clear messaging first, because everything else is going to be built on that foundation of how do you talk to your customers and what problems do they have. So that's step 1. Step 2 is building a website. Website is number 2. So you have clear messaging, so we know how to talk to customers. So then we build a website talking to your customers. So we're going to do SEO optimization, AI optimization, and then human behavior optimization. We talked a little bit about that earlier. Your website needs to be something that when people land on it, they don't go, what am I looking at? That happens all the time, where people are like, oh, can you review my website? I'm like, sure. I open up. I'm like, what am I looking at?
Uh-huh. Oh, we built this ourselves. How do you know? Well, this big long block of text at the top.
Either they've built it themselves, or they hired some sparkly agency that charged them an insane amount of money and gave them a website that looks like it was built in 1995, but it has cool animations.
What else do you need? Shiny objects.
Right. Exactly. So how can we build a website that when people land it, they need to know within the first 3 seconds, some say 5, it's really 3 seconds, where they're at, what website are they on, who are they talking to, what problem do you solve for them, and what action do you want them to take? Because if people, you get on a website and you're like, all right, cool. Like, I was just looking up dry cleaners because I got some shirts I need to get dry cleaned. Now I'm going to a wedding in a couple weeks. Like, I got to go do all this stuff. And I'm looking at all these websites. I'm like, I need to know your hours and your pricing. And you're telling me we've been in business for 25 years and I'm like, this doesn't matter to me. I have a problem. I need you to help me.
Move that to the about section. It's not prime space at the top.
Right. Exactly. So you need to build a website that is SEO optimized, AI search optimized. There's a whole bunch into that now. And then human behavior optimized. How are humans going to land on your website so that way they get into your sales funnels and systems and automations that lead to sales, which is step 3. Building out your systems, building out your CRM, building out your automations, your sales funnels to generate, capture, and convert leads to sales. Marketing should lead to sales. If any marketer, if you talk to a marketer and they're like, oh, we're doing this campaign for brand awareness, leave.
Run.
Leave. Run. Don't talk to them again. Block them. Brand awareness.
One of the things that Timothy really likes to talk about, Timothy Morgan, CEO of our Giver Marketing, he'll talk about, marketing and sales, where they make that handshake, right? The whole goal is to help you do more sales. So how are you converting your sales now? What does that look like? Let's get more of that so that you can do more of that, right? So marketing is supposed to complement and work with sales.
Precisely. And so you need to build out your infrastructure, your systems, your funnels, and your automations. So that way, when you pass off this lead to sales goes, okay, I can see they're in this channel. They've been nurtured for so long. They're looking at this. Cool. So then they know exactly what to say to the customer to convert the sale. You need to build that out. And then you need to create what I call growth marketing strategies. Growth is my acronym for my framework. You have to craft these strategies to do marketing in 90-day sprints. You want to have like your annual goal, like here's what we're shooting for the year. But in order to really hit that goal, you got to break it up into digestible, either 30, 60, or 90-day. I strongly recommend 90-day sprints. So this is, what product or service are we pushing right now? And you can determine that through a whole process. But what product or service are we pushing right now? What channels are we reaching our customers on? Looking back at the last 90 days to see what worked, what didn't work, improving on it in the next 90 days. How are we going to optimize and keep going and keep the momentum? You need to constantly be knowing, right? Steering of your car, the strategy, where are we going and how are we going to get there? And you need to do that on a regular basis. It can't be a one time like, oh, we're going to do this strategic planning for the whole year. And then you're going to get burnt out. You're going to make your content calendar for the whole year. And then you're going to hate it by the time you're in February. It makes no sense. You need to have marketing broken up into digestible strategic sprints that make sense, that tie all of your marketing efforts to a specific goal that leads to sales.
It's all got to tie together, right? They don't work independently. And you may decide if you do it for the year, oh, that's great. And you see tools that say they'll do that for you. But what if you decide to add a new product or service between now and then? Now, what are you going to do?
Right.
Well, all that work you just did out the window, start over again. So chunks, 90-day chunks. I love that idea.
90-day chunks.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you add more products or services, let's say someone wants to come along and buy your business. Now you've paid for all this marketing work that you're not going to use. What if you suddenly have to pivot? What if we have another pandemic? Like, there's a million things that could happen. So you don't want to be too far. You want to know where you're going, but you don't want to be executing too far ahead. So that's why 90-day growth marketing strategy sprints. And then step 5 is creating content that fills your funnels and builds your audience. Do not create content for content's sake. Do not run ads for brand awareness. If you run an ad, it needs to be pushing a product. If you run an ad, it needs to be pushing to some event that's a lead generator for something else. You need to be very purposeful with the content that you create. And I really like, Christine, have you heard of Marcus Sheridan? Marcus Sheridan.
Tell me more.
So Marcus Sheridan wrote this fantastic book called They Ask You Answer. He just rolled out version 3 to like deal with AI and everything. It's called Endless Customers. Fantastic book, fantastic framework. And it's about how to create content around the problems and questions that your customers are asking. Because to me, businesses are creating trendy content. They're following the TikTok trends, and there was a one like around someone throws a box and then at this person and it cuts to the other person like, you think that box is going to hit me, right? And like, okay, I've seen a million of them. It's not funny anymore. And how is that going to lead to sales in your business? It won't. What will lead to sales is if you create content that answers your customer's question. Like, why does I have a security company, so like, why does a security assessment cost this much? Does a security assessment help me with this type of compliance? Will this USB plugin help me to, like, how fast is it and why does it cost this much? Answer your customers' burning questions. Create blog content, video content, and ideally create audio podcast content that answers your customers' questions. It's really quite simple. And when you do that, you build trust with your audience, you build the authority of your website, and you build trust with AI. Because AI, and then I'm going to go a little bit of tangent here, AI wants to answer your customers' questions in the way that the customers are asking those questions. Mm-hmm. So people used to go to Google and it used to be all about keywords. Mm-hmm. Now it's about creating these like word chunks, these word blocks around how does this customer ask this question? And then you want to title your article that, you want to title your video that, because AI wants to make it easy. So if you say, how do I grow my business in 5 easy steps? Then you're going to come up with a video that says how to grow your business in 5 easy steps. You want to title your content and cater your content to your customers' questions. That's
it's changed from those keywords, right? Now it's more about the phrases, the questions, yes. Exactly, right? So if you have the answer to their problem, why not have it written that way? Whatever that question is.
Exactly. And then whatever content you create needs to have a specific and consistent calls to action that pushes people into your sales funnel. So if you create some blog, some podcast, some video, it needs to be ideally, if you've built this whole thing out right, go to my website and download my lead generator. Go to schedule a call, grab this, watch this podcast, go do this. You need to have a clear and consistent calls to action that puts people into your sales funnels. So that way you get something that captures their, information. Ideally they download something, you get their name, email, maybe a phone number. And then you put them into this automation that's now building the relationship with them. And as you create more content, then you can start to send them that content directly. So then they feel more like, oh, I was having a problem with, 3D printers with my 3D printing machine. And I found this great guide on like how to fix this type of problem. And then now they're telling me they have this titanium, thing that can solve this problem forever. you can create this great customer journey. You can create this whole process so you're constantly building trust. You're constantly building the familiarity and identity of your brand into your customers, into your audience. That way ideally you end up with this really fanatical fan base and a great business that you can kind of kick back and build the systems and let other people run it for you, or you can sell. It really depends up to you.
I love it. I love your philosophy on this, Jon.
So I have for you guys the free marketing machine playbook. So what this playbook is it goes through the 5-step process that explains how to create marketing networks, how to create effective content, how to build your marketing infrastructure, your systems, your automations. It's a great resource. I've updated it recently to include a lot more AI stuff. I actually have some specific prompts in there. You can copy and paste into ChatGPT or Perplexity or Grok or whatever you want to use. It can help you start to optimize your marketing to help you really grow your business. So you can go to my website, greenlitgrowth.com, and grab that. It's free. There's a couple other playbooks on there. If you poke around, you'll find them. And I would love to help you guys just take this. There's no obligation. Take it and run. Go grow your business.
Yeah, if we're looking at those pictures of the car and if that made sense to you, right? And you're like, oh, that was a lot of information to retain, right? This is a great way to kind of dive deeper and get that overall framework and an understanding of that. So don't miss this opportunity. Scan that, download it, get a copy of that, because I think you see his approach, right? I mean, he's not promising that everybody's going to get to, what was that? How many billion, what?
25 million in less than 3 years.
So he's not promising you're going to get 25 million trying to implement this yourself. You might need a little help, but this is the framework that he used to do that, right? And which is pretty awesome. I mean, that's a proven true method. And I love how you've structured this, right? We all have different ways that we organize, but this is a nice secret weapon you might want to get in your pocket, right? So reach out there. The other thing is you've got his contact information right there. You can always drop an email to Jon. So Jon at greenlitgrowth.com. Visit his website, greenlitgrowth.com. The other thing is we might want to actually send people to connect with you on LinkedIn. What do you think?
That would be great.
Does that work? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and drop that into the chat also. So I'm going to drop that in for comments. So say connect with Jon at, and here we go. Look in the comments for this. Go ahead, click that, reach out to him, say, hey, I saw you on the Giver Marketing broadcast. Can we talk more about this marketing machine thing? I need a machine, right? Reach out, talk to him, have that conversation, because this is an opportunity to dive in deeper. A lot of times we'll start as a startup. Everybody starts as a startup, right? And then you got to grow from there. Otherwise, like we said, you just have a job for yourself instead of a business. So if you're ready to make that transformation in your business, this might be a great way to do that. So I'm going to encourage everybody to reach out and talk to Jon and get that nice, wonderful freebie. So 3, 2, 1, pulling it off the screen, take your picture, and there it goes. All right. Jon, you are a wealth of knowledge. I am so excited about having you on here. If you need to rewatch that, right? Rewind, watch it again, run it through AI, get all his words, read through, memorize it, whatever it takes, get that information into your brain, because you are definitely onto something here, Jon. I love how you do what you do. And I'm hoping we can drag you back to the show again. What do you think?
I could be convinced.
All right. If there's a particular topic you want Jon to dive deeper into, send us a message, let us know, and we'll see if we can sweet talk him into diving deeper into one of these, because he's obviously a wealth of knowledge. I'm excited. Thank you, Jon, so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And now, before everybody leaves, I want to let you know that we do have the Tuesday marketing broadcast every Tuesday. That's 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, or if you're in Texas or centrally like I am, all right, that's 10 o'clock. So that's when the fun and excitement happens. So tune in, learn more. This is all about you. We do this for you. This is a free broadcast because we just want to give back. The other thing that we do that's free is our no cost networking for marketers. So if you're in the marketing space, if you're in PR, media, that's your playground, come play with us, because don't be a lonelypreneur. If you partner up, it's amazing what you can make happen, right? So that being the case, I'm going to drop that on the screen. Here we go. Networking for Marketers meets on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, or 10 Texas. Register at givermarketing.com/networking, and that will put you into the meeting that we have on Wednesdays. Networking for Marketers. Come play, come have some fun with us, because together we rise the tide for everyone. That's the goal.
And I'll be there.
Yay! I love when you come in, Jon. All right, y'all. We'll see you tomorrow, or we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a fantastic day. Thanks, Jon.
Thanks, Christine.